This is Tony from Homestead Skills, and a lot has been happening in the last few days. Some pretty strange things and some pretty interesting things, but one of the ones that I guess is going to seriously affect all of us is that a real strike is probably imminent at this point. It turns out that there was never an agreement in place, and people were lied to. A union that was supposed to be looking after the interests of the people and who collect dues on every paycheck to do just that. Was not looking after their interests. As a matter of fact, they sidelined them. They were in a position to strike last Friday, and that was subverted by the claim that there was a potential agreement in place that the government had negotiated with the unions, and such was not the case. Apparently, when they went to review what this tentative agreement did say, it turns out that there is no tentative agreement. There was never one in place, and that it would be weeks before anyone had any idea what this tentative agreement would stipulate. So I would expect that we're going to see a strike pretty much as soon as they can arrange that. So a union who collects union dues to look after people's interest didn't do so. So that has angered people to no end, and admittedly so, deservedly so. So I think that even unless they can come up with absolutely everything these people want and in a hurry, we're going to see a strike. So if there's anything that you can get, that you need, I highly recommend that you rush out and get whatever you need as soon as possible. I don't know when that strike will occur, but I'm almost guaranteeing that it will happen at this point. So that is probably some critical news for a lot of people. The rails do supply about 40% of our goods. It's a fair chunk. It's a fair chunk. And I doubt that they can get enough trucks on the road to make up that difference, especially when they have let a lot of people go because of mandates. And speaking of mandates, it would appear as though Canada, at least, is getting ready to drop them. I understand that they have something that is called an order in council, which is very similar to your president's executive orders that comes due at the end of September for these mandates. So, I mean, it will end at the end of September. And I believe that that would remove the ArriveCan app, which is a highly disputed piece of software, claiming that it's non-constitutional, that it infringes on people's rights, and that it's just used as a tracking mechanism for the government. So there are, but anyway, that may be coming to an end, thank God. Yeah, it's ridiculous that that was in place in the first place, at least from my point of view, and many other people's. And I believe that there are lawsuits against this app as well. So likely that will be dropped in September, and along with it other mandates, but that does not account for all the harm that these things have done to people over the last couple of years. Many people have been affected in terrible ways, lost businesses, lost jobs. Not only is Canada looking at ending all those, and It could be political expediency that is causing that. Hard to say. But B has also suggested that it's over, but that didn't stop them from firing teachers and others who refused to comply with certain situations. So these things have done people a lot of harm, and let that be a lesson to all of us. Okay, well, at this point I still have a garden to clean up. I have apples to source and dehydrate tons of them. I would love to have dehydrated apples. Eat them as candy. Unfortunately, I probably need about 3 dehydrators to keep me in those, to keep me happy eating those all day long. Anyway, yes, I do want to make dehydrated apples, applesauce, and apple vinegar, and yeah, so I have to source them either at a farmer's market or at an orchard, and I still haven't determined where I'm going to get my apples so far. But I still have a garden to clean up first, at least to harvest the tomatoes that are there, and they are outside. I will not let them ripen indoors just because of all the fruit flies. I have covered them with a towel. Somebody suggested that the darkness is what helps them to ripen, or putting an apple with them. At this point, I have covered them with a towel, and we'll see if that helps. I've never made fried green tomatoes, but there's a first for everything, or relish, or anything with tomatoes. I just make my puree. So, and I am sick and tired of that. I mean, they're okay. There definitely is a benefit to buying them all ripe and using my electric machine, which is what I used to do. I used to buy 3 bushels and pretty much do them all at once. And when I started and anything that I grew was more for salads rather than for processing. And the last year or so, I decided that I would grow my own tomatoes for processing. Unfortunately, they don't all ripen at the same time, and so last year I decided that I would buy my little manual tomato processing machine, because the big electric one was probably not the best use of it for, 5 to 15 pints. But I find that growing your own, unless you have a field of them, you're still processing too few at a time and doing it far too often. So I used to get away with processing tomatoes 2, maybe 3 times in the fall. Now I seem to be doing it 4 or 5 times with my manual machine, and once with my electric when I buy my first batch. I may have to rethink how I do that, but we'll see what happens next year. Either plant more tomatoes and just use my electric, or anyway, we'll see. This is Tony from her Homestead Skills. I hope you enjoyed this bit of information that I was able to provide. I hope that you have everything that you need for the next little while. I hope that this strike that I expect to happen does not get really ugly. But we'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye for now.